So remember when I came back to YouTube officially with the full form video and said that I've essentially lost so much and every time I wanted to come back here something would happen? Zane's dying of heart failure. So I mentioned that he has stage 3 kidney disease, which is something that Simon passed from last year. Zane has had another flare of not eating very much. He will have his churro and he will have his freeze-dried chicken treats, but he would barely touch his kibble and any other wet food, when for the last few weeks prior he was doing very well at eating and there would always be empty bowls. So I made a plan. I made an appointment for yesterday morning to look that over. Monday, I noticed his breathing was a little off. Now, it has been a little bit off in the last few months, but nothing that was really brought up in concern, and he's almost 15 years old, so I figured it was just normal things. Except Monday, he was breathing very, very fast, very, very short, over 50 breaths in just 30 seconds, when the normal is supposed to be, I think, 30 in 1 minute. Instead of waiting until 9 a.m. yesterday morning, he went to the ER at about 11:30 Monday night. And they did an ultrasound, and he has fluid in and outside of his lungs. He got put into the oxygen room. He got some medicine that was supposed to be like an anti-anxiety medicine, so that way he would be calm for x-rays. And with those x-rays, it was basically confirmed that he has left side congestive heart failure. And I don't think, well, we don't know what the cause of it is or what the very specific heart condition is. I guess that's what they were saying. And so before we get to that, basically he stayed in the ER all night. The doctor did not want me to bring him home while he was in respiratory distress, and she didn't want to have me watch him be in respiratory distress, and we needed him stable until we could hopefully bring him to the primary vet to talk more about it. And so, yeah, that's what happened, and they let me stay overnight. They made me a little room, a little snack plate, got me a toothbrush and toothpaste, which was very kind of them. So sucked seeing so many animals there, including one who did pass. They were being put to sleep, so that was really sad, seeing the aftermath and the poor puppy, the poor dog being rolled away. I didn't get to sleep until like 3 a.m. and even then I was waking up every hour. And so at 7, I decided to finally get out. The doctor was still there, and she told me that the good news was he became stable. They put him in regular room oxygen instead of, the fancy stuff. And then she actually let me keep him in my room for a little bit with a litter box, with some food, which that was probably the first time I saw him be so excited for food that wasn't a churro. She called the primary vet once they opened to let them know what was going on, and then by 9 o'clock I was there for his appointment, so I never even went home. It wasn't worth it to go all the way home regardless, plus I was so tired anyway, and then having to drive all the way back because I was also on very limited gas because of some bank issues, so that has been fixed, thankfully, knock on wood. So I went to the primary vet, lover. It's not looking good. Heart failure with kidney disease, especially stage 3, is not a great combination to have because the kidneys need fluid, and that's what the heart does not like to have, and something else that the heart needs but the kidneys don't like, or something, I can't remember. But so we came up with a plan. Here's the thing, he needs a cardiologist. He needs a consultation with a cardiologist to determine specifically what kind of heart disease, heart condition, heart failure he has, because that's not something that they can figure out and that cardiologist only comes up to Omaha a few times a month. We have to keep him stable. We have to try to keep him stable until then, and that is with medicine. Here's the thing with medicine and Zane. He doesn't like it. He will fight to the death about it. And even if you think you have successfully given it to him, he will find a way to bring that medicine back out. I have found pills days later at the other side of the apartment. Do not ask me how. And the vet knows that. That's why she was talking to me. And she said, I know that he is not the easiest guy to give medicine to, because even they struggle. So, one short-term plan, where are you going? One short-term plan that we have is I have enough medicine from yesterday until Friday morning, where there will be a follow-up appointment, and we are basically doing a trial to see if, one, he will take the medicine, and so far it's been successful, although he has declined pill pockets and will keep rubbing my hand instead, which broke me. He will not take medication mixed in wet food or churu. He knows it. He will not take it. So the test is to see if he takes medication at all, and then to see if it actually does anything. Because if we can't keep him stable with medicine, is it worth it to take him to the cardiologist? If he refuses any medication, he's basically going to raw dog it or attempt to raw dog it for the rest of his life, which don't know how long that is. And that only means that if he doesn't have the diuretics, and also if the diuretics don't even work for him, he will just have fluid keep coming back, more emergency visits, more suffering, and essentially drowning in himself. And that's not what I want. And again, heart disease and kidney disease are a terrible combination. I will be talking with the vet again on Friday, and we will see where it goes from here, because I want to try to give him a fighting chance, but I also don't want him to suffer. And this is something very difficult for me, because I still feel guilty over Simon every day about it if I did it too early, because obviously it was so obvious that he was declining very rapidly, but he was still the same loving cat. And here he is, granted he did not come to bed at all last night, which is a very big change for him, because he always comes to bed when I'm in bed, but he would still, follow me to the bathroom, and he gives me little leg and head rubs. It's one thing with kidney disease. It's another when you think about heart failure, and if he's drowning in himself, he can't breathe, he's in pain. That's completely separate. And I was taking a bath last night, and all I could think of was, if I dunked my head in right now and stayed underwater, is that what that feels like? If it was like putting his face into the bath water and leaving him in there, is that what it would feel like? Google said it was kind of like pneumonia, but I can't even remember, or if I've had pneumonia, but granted I've had bronchitis and I have my own breathing problems, but I just don't. And I look at him now, and he's obviously better than he was on Monday night, but you can still see that his breathing isn't the greatest. And the vet did call me this morning, and I gave her some updates, and I've been taking videos to send to her for Friday for her to look at. And it sucks so much, because I've had him since he was 4 months old. And I think this time it will definitely be different and more difficult, because at least when Simon passed, I had Zane to come home to. But once it's his time, this is an empty apartment. I have not had 0 cats since first having a cat. It was always, okay, one cat ends up going missing. My first 2 cats just went missing. And then since it was Libby that we had, and then Zane, but then Libby passed, I still had Zane. And eventually I had Simon, and then Simon passed, and Zane, were you trying to beat everyone? Trying to come out on top. Also, poor thing peed himself on the way home, so I gotta clean him up, but he's feisty. And chances are, once that time does happen, I am avoiding this apartment completely for probably a week. Do I know where I will go? Nope. But you see, it sucks, because otherwise he seems his typical normal. At least, he likes to play still, although I'm not attempting that right now. But he'll still play, he'll still do his little gallops around the house, and he jumps up and down just fine, although I don't know why he doesn't want to come to bed. So that's what makes this difficult, because it's like, is it going to be too early? But it's like, girl, this is not kidney disease. I mean, part of it is, but right now the main issue is heart failure. He's drowning, fluid in his lungs. Go drown in a lake and see how you like it. And then of course there's also the financial part of it all, and when you've lost over 50% of your income, and then stuff like this happens, and you're living off of your savings, then you wonder, the financial part on top of, is the medication even going to work at all? And is it worth him having to be in so much discomfort and pain and struggling to breathe? So yeah, we were definitely talking about the potential possibility of euthanasia. And then I have to wonder, do I want to do it here? And then deal with the fact that he died in his apartment? Do I do it at a friend's house? But then every time I visit him, then I'm reminded, do I do it at the vet? But I don't want him to be at the vet when that happens, especially because Simon got to be at home. But I don't live in that apartment anymore. That was also a guilt trip for me. But that doesn't seem fair either. None of this is fair. It's not fair to keep him around just because I want him around. And obviously I don't want him to suffer. Hi. Ain't gonna bite me. I was somewhat holding it together. I mean, I was crying throughout being in both vets, and then like when I was out and about. But when I brought him home, I dropped him off. I had to go run some errands and other appointments. And then I came back and I saw him sitting at the top of the couch. I started crashing out and sobbing because I just closed the door, looked at him, stood there for a moment, and it was just all came out. Yeah, so there's that update. I don't know what's going to happen. It's just taking it day by day right now and keeping him stable until we find out, is it appropriate to give him a cardiologist? And can we also keep him stable until that appointment, if he gets that appointment? Some people have contributed with Cash App and Venmo, but I also made a GoFundMe since that seems to be the most accessible way for people from various regions. So if anyone wants to help out little Zane while I'm also trying to work my butt off catching up on work and making paid content and trying to get business. I've been ghosted on all of my paid projects that I was contacted about, so that sucks, because that definitely would have really helped. And I have that link down below, and thank you for watching if you do here. There's also channel membership, and I do have a merch store if you would prefer like supporting but also actually getting something. I'll have all that link down below. We're just gonna see how it goes. Try to make it to Friday and then keep having conversations. I don't know how to end this video. But thank you for watching. Thank you for the kind messages and comments from other platforms where I talked about this. I'll see you later one way or another. Bye. You wanna say bye?